The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the Journal.
In Senate, Tuesday, April 29, 2025, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Monday, April 28, 2025 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the Journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions. Messages from the Assembly. The Secretary will read.
Senator Comrie moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 6762, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7230, third reading calendar 690. Senator Kavanaugh moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 6869, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7320, third reading calendar 691. Senator Martinez moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 6763, substituted for the identical Senate Bill 7526, third reading calendar 692.
So ordered. Messages from the Governor, reports of standing committees, reports of select committees, communications and reports from state officers, motions and resolutions. Senator Gianaris.
Good morning, Madam President. I'm going to take up this motion by Senator Addabbo. On page 42, I offer the following amendments to Calendar 567, Senate Print 5935, and ask that said bill retain its place on the third reading calendar.
The amendments are received and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Gianaris.
At this time, we're going to take up a very important resolution, previously adopted resolution 548 by Senator Scarcella-Spanton. Please read that resolution's title and recognize Senator Scarcella-Spanton.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 548 by Senator Scarcella-Spanton, celebrating the courage and bravery of New York State's Korean War veterans and recognizing the men and women who served with dignity and honor during this historic time period at the Senate's Korean War Veterans Celebration on April 30th, 2025.
Senator Scarcella-Spanton on the resolution.
Thank you so much, Madam President. It is an honor to be here today, both as a senator and as the chair of the Veterans and Homeland Security and Military Affairs Committee. I want to thank our amazing Majority Leader, Andrea Stewart-Cousins, and all of the staff, and of course, Senator Mayer for making this possible today, and all of my colleagues who have our veterans up with us. We're here today in recognition of the strength, sacrifice, and service of New York's Korean War veterans. Though the Korean War is often called the Forgotten War, its significance has never been lost, and it changed the course of history, and every American who enjoys the blessings of freedom owes a debt of gratitude to veterans like you who defended our freedom. 72 years ago, when the war in Korea ended, our veterans returned home to a nation ready to move forward. But in doing so, many overlooked the valiant efforts of those who had served in the Korean War. For far too long, your stories and sacrifices have been overshadowed by later conflicts. Today, we are here to correct that, to make clear that your bravery and your contributions will be honored and remembered, not just today, but for years to come. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for everything you have done to defend our freedoms and protect our nation's values. Thank you.
Ashby on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the sponsor of this resolution for bringing it to the floor, and I want to thank all of our Korean War veterans and their families for being here with us today. And when I think of our Korean War veterans, I often think of how I learned how ill-prepared and ill-equipped they were when they went into country and the circumstances that they had to endure, the cold that they had to endure, the enemy that they had to endure, and then when they came back, setting the standard of service for us, not only for the Vietnam veterans, but for veterans of later generations. And they still continue to serve today. Many of the veterans who are with us here today are in their 90s, some of them actually have birthdays coming up. So on top of this resolution, I'd like to wish them all a happy birthday. I'd like to thank them for sharing their time and efforts with us and for continuing to set a higher standard for all of us to aspire to. Proudly vote aye.
Ashby. Senator Kenzaneri Fitzpatrick on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. And as we just heard today, the Korean War is a forgotten war, so thank you to the sponsor for bringing this resolution to the floor. As the proud daughter of a Korean War veteran, my father served in the United States Coast Guard, and we knew about the significance of this war at home. And in many ways, we knew the impact that it had on so many veterans who came home, and especially those who did not. I want to thank the sponsor because we must continue to honor and commemorate those who selflessly served our nation. We need to ensure that they have a platform to share their stories, their experiences, and to help us know that those who are no longer with us, that we always remember them. To all of our guests who have taken the time to be here, I'm so glad that you could be here to know that there are people in this state that honor you, that remember you, and thank you for your selfless service. I proudly vote aye.
Thank you. Senator Matera on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. And, I just would like to thank our sponsor, Senator Scarcella-Stanton, and thank you so much for all you do for the veterans. And, and I know your husband is a veteran, and God bless him and your family. But today is a very, very special day for our Korean War veterans, and somebody that's very special to me is and I said this last year, I think also too, is my Uncle Louis, which I have to mention that. In an Italian family, you have an Uncle Louis. And my Uncle Louis is at the Vets Home at Stony Brook, which is the premier, and I do say this, the premier home, Vets Home, that everybody needs to show that, everyone needs to understand how important that is for our veterans. And there's my Uncle Louis. There he was, he had his motorized cart, and all of a sudden, Uncle Louis was running people's feet over. And it was getting a little bit upsetting, giving me a call and saying, Uncle Louis, and they took away his motorized cart. And of course, there it is, he's calling the senator up, calling the congressman up, and we got a hearing for Uncle Louis. And it didn't go so well. But to be honest with you, it's just important that our vets' homes are looked at in a certain way. And again, Fred Scanger, I thank you so much for what you do. For all of our service people that are there at the Vets Home. And when we do see our veterans, and you see those caps all the time with certain wars that are on there, we make sure that we recognize that and say thank you for your service. And one thing that I've always do is you always buy either a cup of coffee or buy something to say thank you so much for what you have done. So today is a very, very special day. I thank you so much for your service, and it isn't the forgotten war because I will never forget, and I appreciate you because I know, God forbid, we had a situation right now, you guys would put that uniform right on again and do it all over again. Because that's how proud I am to be here today to say thank you. God bless all of our veterans, and especially God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Hinchey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to honor and welcome all of our Korean War veterans who are here today, but around our state, to say thank you. Thank you for your service and for your sacrifice. And we owe all of you an incredible debt. I want to rise, though, and specifically welcome two veterans who are here from my district, Charlie Aleka and Ron Chrissy from Kingston, both in their 90s and who are incredible community members, still serving in our community in any way that they can. And it's an absolute honor and a privilege to know them and to welcome them to our chamber and to the Capitol today. And I want to say a big thank you. Thank you to the leader for bringing this resolution forward in partnership with you, Madam President, and of course the sponsor of the resolution, Senator Scarcella-Stanton. This is a wonderful day, one I always look forward to, and I'm proud to vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Fahey on the resolution.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity as well. I rise today to also recognize and honor the profound contributions of these Korean War veterans, to all of them. Again, often referred to as the forgotten war. These veterans are anything but forgettable, and it's just wonderful that we are hosting them here today. And I think it's remarkable that 400,000 New Yorkers served in the Korean War, 400,000. I am incredibly honored that we have 3 American heroes here in the 46th Senate District, and I have 3 with me today. All 3 are veterans, all 3 still very active in the community as well. Let me start with Lou Picarazzi. If you are able, Lou, please stand. Lou is a Staff Sergeant in the United States Air Force. He is a Selkirk native, and after serving in the U.S. Air Force from 1951 through 1955, during the war, of course, he earned the rank of Staff Sergeant. He was recognized for his honorable military service with the Good Conduct Award, as well as the National Defense Service Award, and was most recently honored as Veteran of the Game by the New York Yankees during one of the nationally televised games in May of last year. Thank you so much, Lou Picarazzi. I also have Matt Matarazzo, who was a corporal. Matt, if you would please stand. Matt was a corporal in the 2nd Amphibious Support Brigade with the United States Army. He served selflessly, again, in the Army during the war and has built a remarkable career since then with the intersection of law, government, and civic service, and actually served for a number of years as Deputy Counsel for the Speaker in the New York State Assembly. He's also served with distinction as counsel for Peta Bishop and Del Giorno, LLC, where he has long represented clients across a broad range of sectors represented before the New York State government. He was also a former chair of the St. Rose Board, and I think it just bears noting he started early on in his life as a foster child, yet went on to continue to serve our community. Thank you, Matt. Finally, we have Frank English, who served as a rifleman in the United States Marines, served again with distinction in the H Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, and fought courageously in critical battles, including Hill 111, Boulder City, and served on the front lines right until the ceasefire in 1953. Frank is just one of 9 Marines to be featured in the book on Combat in Korea, 18 Veterans to Remember the War By. He is a testament to our firsthand experiences of sacrifice, valor, and defense of our nation. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention my late uncle, Thomas Moriarty, who also served in Korea. But these 3 individuals represent the best of our community as they defended our democracy on foreign soil during some of the most difficult times. This is a reminder that we see you, we honor you, we thank you, and I think hosting this could not be more important. I also want to note that I hope we will continue to stand united against some of the cuts that we are seeing at the Veterans Administration and not allow their service, as well as all veteran service, to slip into the shadows of history, that we continue to show them the reverence and the respect that they so deserve. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Tedisco on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the sponsor of this resolution and her leadership, Senator Spanton, on the Veterans Committee for bringing this out, and our leader from our side of the aisle over here, Senator Ashby, for the great job he does standing up for our veterans. As we today stand in support and show our appreciation to the Korean veterans who kept our freedom and liberty and sacrificed tremendously for all of us here and around the world, I think we're reminded of all our veterans, and we remember them today also. I'm very proud to welcome here to the Senate chambers one of my veterans from my Senate 44 Senatorial District, Paul O'Keefe. He's here with his daughter, Diane. And we have in Saratoga County a deceased veterans ceremony quite often, maybe once or twice a month. And as many as I can make, I try to make, but I can tell you every single one of those I make, Paul is there to support his deceased veterans and to stand there and show honor for them. And I'm proud to say he was inducted into the Hall of Fame here in the New York State Senate, and I was the one who put in his introduction to have that happen. And we're proud to have you in the documentation of being in the New York State Senate Hall of Fame. Congratulations to you and congratulations to all the veterans here today, and we appreciate your service and sacrifice. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Tedisco. Senator Bailey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to rise and thank the sponsor, Senator Scott Sullivan, for this incredible resolution. This is something that we should make sure we continue to do and give folks the flowers that they deserve while they are still able to smell the fragrance. I just wanted to thank you all for giving me a perspective-changing moment today. Often in life, it is the small things that move large mountains. And having conversations with the vets, people who gave everything to people that they don't know. And in the Forgotten War, the year that it ended was the beginning of possibly me, because my father was born in '53. And so it's something that I've always thought about that year, in what conflicts and what makes people move. But the reason why I talk about that perspective is I was having conversations with the vets, and I was a little frustrated because of the results of a professional basketball contest last night. But then I realized that folks like you went into rough terrain. You weren't worried about the score. You weren't worried about who was playing what or what was happening. You were worried about red, white, and blue. That's what you were worried about. And so sometimes it's kind of like you need something to shift your perspective from things that are rather trivial to people that gave everything. So I just want to say thank you for giving everything. And you deserve everything. I appreciate your service. And to write from in English, you are very smart. You married a woman from the Bronx. Big shout out to you. I see you throwing up her ex all day. You know how we do. I just want to take this time that we should always make sure that when we can, if you see somebody that served, it doesn't cost you a cent to say thank you. And if you want to be like Senator Matera, you can buy him a cup of coffee. And quite frankly, they deserve more than that. It doesn't cost you a cent to simply say those two words. Thank you. And I thank you, Madam President. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Bailey. Senator Borrello on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to the sponsor for this bill. We have several Korean War veterans in the 57th Senate District, and I want to thank those that are here today. Thank you so much for your service, your sacrifice, and thank you for being here to be recognized. But I want to speak specifically about one particular Korean War veteran who happens to also be my cousin and a constituent, Peter Carlo. You may have heard his name. He is a member of inducted into the Senate Hall of Fame himself. Peter had not only brave service in the military and in the Korean War, but he came home to have a successful career and pay back to his community over and over again. If there was a place that did not have an American flag, Peter Carlo made sure they got one. And if it didn't matter if it was a grave of a soldier or a public or private building, a school, a park, Peter Carlo went and bought those flags, delivered them, and made sure they were maintained across the 57th Senate District, particularly in the Jamestown, New York area. A selfless man, to this day in his 90s, still worried about making sure those flags get out and get delivered. So to Peter Carlo, thank you for your service. God bless him, God bless our veterans, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you. I vote aye.
Thank you. Senator Stavisky on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to all of the veterans of the Korean-American War. In 2019, I was privileged to visit Korea, and one of the highlights was visiting the museum dedicated to the Korean-American War, what we call the Korean-American War. And I came away with a feeling they were so grateful to America. I can't begin to tell you how on the street people would stop us. There were two of us, obviously, we were visitors, and the gratitude that we felt, the warmth and acceptance. And I'm here today I was delighted to see my longtime friend, Matt Matarusso is here. He has served in government. That's how I met him many, many years ago. He worked with my husband. Matt has had such a great, great career of service to the people of our state. And Matt, we hope that next year, same time next year, how's that? And to all of our veterans, we thank you.
Thank you, Senator Stavisky. Senator Chan on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. When I walked onto the Senate floor today, I spotted my veterans immediately. I want to thank Senator Scarcella Stanton for bringing forth this resolution, my neighboring district in South Brooklyn and Staten Island. It brings tears to my eyes and joy to my heart to see my fellow veterans here today with us. I want to thank you for your service. Me being a U.S. Marine myself, I instantly just spotted my jawheads. Only a Marine can call another Marine a jawhead. Anybody else who calls us a jawhead, it's a fight, and Marines know that. Not too many people knows what it feels like to lug a Browning machine gun on your shoulders, all 100 pounds of it, and run 100 yards across the jungle or the flight line or the desert. You guys know what that feels like. And I want to thank each and every one of you. And I'm glad to see each and every one of you still in fighting shape, and I know you'll continue to defend this country. I personally thank you very much. Stay strong.
Thank you, Senator Chan. Senator Gallivan on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I too rise to honor and thank our Korean War veterans, those that are here today, those, of course, who are no longer with us, the sponsor, Senator Scarcella Stanton, for bringing this resolution forward, and also to remember and honor former Senator Colonel Bill Larkin, who not everybody in the chamber was honored to be able to serve with. I sat next to Colonel Larkin for 8 years. Over there, Senator Harcum now sits in the legendary seat, kind of fitting that he's from the Hudson Valley as well. But Colonel Larkin, for those that knew him, know what a special human being he was. He gave a lifetime of service. He lied about his age to enter the service initially and serve in World War II. Then as a young lieutenant in the Korean War, he volunteered to lead an all-black contingent when many people would not do that back then. Many people did not do that, unfortunately, back then. Some of you might remember his service, the career military, how he went on and protected Martin Luther King during his famous march. He left the military, served as a town supervisor, served here for many, many years, never forgot his military background, and like so many Korean veterans and others, continued his lifetime of service. And in sitting next to him, the one thing that I take is a lifetime supply of Purple Heart Museum lapel pins that many of you have. But what was significant about that was his role in helping to establish the Purple Heart Museum. As with all of our Korean War veterans, he certainly is worth remembering, and I sure hope that we never forget. I know I won't. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Senator Dabo on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, everyone. And I, too, want to thank the resolution sponsor, Senator Scarcella Stanton. And I want to echo the sentiments of appreciation from my colleagues, thanking all Korean War veterans here with us today, and as we approach Memorial Day, those that have made the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you to all Korean veterans. But I am going to give a shout out to one of my most beloved Korean veterans in my district, a person who is no stranger to this chamber because he served in the Senate for 20 years, and that's Senator Maltese. And I want to thank Senator Maltese for not only his service as a veteran, a Korean War veteran, but his continued activism in the district today. Senator Maltese and I are friends, and I'm proud to call him a friend. So to my constituent, a beloved Senator Maltese, I want to say thank you to all our Korean War veterans. Thank you very much for your commitment and dedication. God bless you all. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Dabo. Senator Jackson on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. My colleagues, I rise to thank the Korean War veterans, and I only know really one. The former Congress member Charles Rangel from Harlem was a Korean War veteran, and he, when he spoke about his service in the communities, he always brought that up, and he went to college after that and became an attorney, and that's, to me, was a life of giving and sharing and looking after people, especially now. So And I say to all of you, you in your 90s, he's still alive and in his 90s, you promote peace wherever we go in order to bring about people coming together and not, reverting to, fights and wars and things like that, because you survived that. But many, many people have not survived, and some are still suffering as a result of that. So I say to you in peace, please enjoy your day, enjoy your days here on earth. We as state senators are here to say to you that we're here to help you and to thank you for your service, serving the country that you live in. So with that, I say thank you.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Krueger on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I was reminded of an experience after hearing my colleagues remind us about the histories of Senator Larkin and Senator Maltese right here in the Senate. I had the privilege of serving with both of them. And we would fight about some issues. And one day, Senator Larkin got pretty mad at me about something. And I responded, well, Senator Larkin, when we send our young men and women off to war to fight, it's so that you and I get to stand here and argue and debate about what are the right laws for this state. And so they're all correlated, and we are on the same side. And afterwards, Senator Larkin and I sat down and had a wonderful conversation, and I want to say we became friends when we were here. And so, because of that memory of him today, I thought I would reference for all of you here representing so many people who fought in the Korean War, including my uncle Stuart Krueger, who would have loved to be here, but he passed away about 1.5 years ago, or I would have made him be here. That when we do what we do every day, and sometimes we're not on the same side of the issues, and sometimes we even get a little angry at each other, we're able to do this because we have democracy. And when we ask our young people to go to war, it's to fight for that right of democracy, and I think it's so critical for us to never forget that. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Krueger. Leader Stewart-Cousins to close.
Thank you so much, Madam President. And I too rise to honor our Korean War veterans. And listening to my colleagues, and certainly thank you to Senator Scarcella-Stanton for making sure that this gets done, for your leadership in our Veterans Committee. And this is our 3rd year of doing this, and I so appreciate what you're doing. And of course, Senator Ashby, you as well. Thank you for being a great partner in making sure that we honor our veterans of all stripes, wherever they are. I also was heartened to hear the names of Senator Maltese as people honored his service, and of course, my good friend also, Senator Bill Larkin, who made us, I think, better every day for the kinds of values that he made sure to articulate when we were in this chamber. And also to our Congressman Charlie Rangel, who broke so many barriers and again is thriving, in right now, still influential, and part of, I'm sure, his vigor and his resilience is because of the service to his country. And when we talk about these historic figures, I wanted to make sure that I honor my veteran, my constituent, Randy Jurgensen. Randy, would you please stand? He's accompanied by his beautiful wife. And Randy, we saved you for last because when we talk about history, things don't happen for no reason. And this celebration that began in 2023 was the brainchild of this Korean War veteran from my district, Randy Jurgensen. Senator Shelley Mayer brought Randy and others to my office because Randy, who currently serves as the Vice Commander of Chapter 3, New York City, the Military Order of Purple Heart. When Senator Mayer brought Randy, it was because he saw that the state recognizes veterans, that we have a Vietnam War Day, and he said, what are we doing for the Korean War veterans? And he put together veterans and showed that there was a constituency for this, but we did not have to be convinced. We understood our obligation and made the promise of that day that this war, which was the quote-unquote forgotten war, would not be forgotten in this chamber. And although the numbers of veterans have dwindled, we continue to celebrate the sacrifice that you made on behalf of this country. And I would not want this day to end without people recognizing that it was you who made sure that this day happens. I am so happy that you came to Senator Mayer and that she, decided that this was important enough to bring to my attention. And this is your history in this chamber. So thank you so much. Thank you for continuing to make the trek up here. And as you know, we will meet you wherever we can in our various districts. But even though the numbers of war veterans, Korean War veterans, continue to dwindle, we will continue to not forget the Korean War in this chamber as long as I have the privilege to lead it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Leader. To our distinguished guests, veterans of the Korean War, we welcome you so sincerely on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise, if you are able, and be recognized. Thank you. Senator Gianaris.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you again to our very special guests for joining us today. We're going to stick with Senator Scarcella-Spanton. Let's take up previously adopted Resolution 549. I'll read its title and recognize Senator Scarcella-Spanton once again.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 549 by Senator Scarcella-Spanton, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim April 2025 as the month of the military child in the state of New York.
Senator Scarcella-Spanton on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to all my colleagues for joining me in memorializing April as the month of the military child in the state of New York. And it's a very appropriate day to be doing it while we're here with our Korean War veterans celebrating them, because I am sure you have all had family that you had to leave behind on your own deployments as well. As the mother of two military children, Emily and Jack, I know firsthand that this life comes with constant change. Specifically, my daughter, Emily, who was only 2 weeks old when my husband deployed to Afghanistan for the second time. When we think of our military and the tremendous sacrifices made by those in active duty, we often overlook the sacrifices made by their families, especially their children. They face challenges unique to their lives as a part of a military family, whether it's enduring frequent moves or coping with the deployment of a parent and everything that comes between and after that. They shoulder the stress of having a loved one in harm's way and show remarkable courage. That is why it is so important to take the time to recognize their strength, resilience, and contributions to our country. There's a reason why the dandelion is the symbol for military children. They can put down roots almost anywhere, and they're incredibly resilient. That is exactly what our military children across the United States do every day. I'm proud to be an advocate for my children and for all military children, including Senator Ashby's children, Senator Walsick's children. I know both of you know this firsthand, and your families. On behalf of my family, and especially my daughter Emily, and the millions of families serving around the world, I'm proud to vote aye.
Thank you, Senator. The resolution was previously adopted on March 25th. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, let's take up previously adopted Resolution 127 by Senator Prasad. Read that resolution's title and recognize Senator Prasad.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 127 by Senator Prasad, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim April 30th, 2025 as Denim Day in the state of New York.
Senator Prasad on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Today we come together to recognize Denim Day. And no, I'm not wearing denim today. Here in the state of New York, an annual day of action held in April, on a Wednesday in April, during Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is a time dedicated to shedding light on the reality of sexual violence and supporting survivors, and pushing for a further rooted in prevention, education, and justice. Sexual assault affects people of every gender, age, race, and background in the United States. Someone is sexually assaulted every 68 seconds. Someone is sexually assaulted every 68 seconds. Yet far too often, survivors face shame, blame, and silence instead of support. The time has come for us to change that. You might be wondering, why do we say Denim Day? Why denim? And the story behind Denim Day begins in the 1990s, the Italian Supreme Court's ruling that shocked the world and made this day into reality. A rape conviction was overturned because the court argued that the victim's tight denim implied consent. That because her denim was so tight, it suggested she might have had to help in removing her denim. So in protest the next day, the women in the Italian parliament wore jeans to work. It was a bold act of solidarity, something that we all should do when we see injustice, come together and act in solidarity. From that moment on, Denim Day was born. What started as a local protest is now celebrated and acknowledged globally. We must continue to fight against sexual violence. Today, Denim Day is the longest running sexual violence prevention and education campaign in history, and it invites students, businesses, elected officials like us, and everyday people to wear denim. So if you're not wearing denim now, before the day is over, if you have the opportunity to put on a piece of denim and take a picture and post it and show solidarity to those victims of sexual violence and tell them that they are not alone. We are their voices also. Wearing jeans on this day may seem like a small gesture, but it sends a powerful message. It tells survivors that we stand with them. Again, we were telling them they are not alone. We challenge the culture that normalizes sexual violence. Even in 2025, some people think it's no big deal that there's sexual violence occurring. We must put an end to this. We must commit to education. When we go visit our schools, when we walk around our communities, we must continue to teach the young people that sexual violence is unacceptable. We must tell them that not because someone is wearing something that you see as sexually attractive, it means that it gives you the right to invade their space. We must tell them that sexual violence in any form is, again, unacceptable. When we tell them this, we are sending a message to them that tells them that if they do this, we will hold them accountable. Anyone who thinks that sexual violence against any person, any gender, any sex, any race, is acceptable, I think you're on the wrong planet. This is not the place for sexual violence. We must all come together and say, sexual violence in any form will never be tolerated. It is time that we put an end to it. And the more we amplify our voices and let others hear it, us as legislators saying to the public that sexual violence is unacceptable, and we will stand with survivors any day to show that they are not alone. That's a powerful message. I encourage my colleagues to continue doing so. When you see it, call it out. When you have the opportunity to teach others, please do so. Sexual violence is unacceptable, and that's the bottom line. So on this Denim Day, again, I encourage you, please speak up against sexual violence. I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Prasad. Senator Bailey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't know what I'm supposed to do after that, Senator Prasad. I am grateful for that. Unfortunately, yesterday, I decided to wear denim yesterday. I missed the memo. But it's never about missing the memo. It's about the little things, as I spoke about in the prior resolution. And maybe it doesn't seem like much to wear a denim item of clothing, but if one person sees that post, if one person sees that you're in solidarity, that may change the frame of mind and they are comforted. I just want to thank Senator Prasad for this really important resolution because it does do something that I think we can all agree on. It recognizes that survivors need support. It recognizes also that sexual violence in any shape, form, or fashion is completely unacceptable. I want to be very clear that no matter what clothing anyone is wearing, that never can condition, that's not assent. That is not consent. That does not that does not mean that a woman or a man or anybody else wants to be violated because they are wearing a certain item of clothing. It does not invite you into their personal space. It does not invite you to their party. It doesn't invite you to anything about them. It is all about consent and respect for others. And respecting others is denouncing sexual violence in any form, in any place, anytime. So Senator Prasad said it all, but I just want to reiterate that I stand in strong support of this resolution. And yes, after the close, if I get a chance to change into some denim, I don't know what I brought, I don't know what I packed, Madam President, but if I find some denim, I'll certainly put it on in support of a survivor and all the survivors and anybody that has experienced this type of violence. I proudly vote aye, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Bailey. Senator Palumbo on the resolution.
Madam President, and I just wanted to echo the comments of my colleagues and thank the sponsor for bringing this to the floor. I actually was unfamiliar with Denim Day and what it meant until I heard those profound words. And when I read the resolution, to see that within 30 years, less than 30 years ago, the Italian Supreme Court suggested that a rape victim was asking for it based upon the clothes she was wearing is appalling. So the fact that we bring this to the floor in this august body and bring attention to this is extremely important. So I just, without reiterating it, as I said, I'd like to associate myself with their comments because they really are very appropriate. I'm proud to vote aye, and I really thank the sponsor for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you. Senator Murray on the resolution.
President, and I'd like to echo my colleagues in saying to Senator Prasad, thank you so much. That story is shocking, and yet not, because it feels like we're still not there. And having a day like this and taking that small step, as you said, of just showing solidarity, doing something as simple as as wearing denim and showing that we're all together, men, women alike, standing together to say it is not acceptable. It is never acceptable. But again, that's a prime example of how the crime victims, the victims always seem to be the forgotten ones. So I'm proud to join with you. As soon as we leave here, I'm finding anything denim, and it'll be on, and I'll send a picture, and we'll post it, or whatever we have to do. But thank you so much for doing this. It is so important. I proudly vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Murray. The resolution was previously adopted on January 14th. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, let's move on to previously adopted Resolution 594 by Senator Ashby. Read that resolution's title and recognize Senator Ashby.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 594 by Senator Ashby, congratulating Carmen Bogle for her ceaseless dedication as mayor of the Village of Cambridge, New York.
Senator Ashby on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today to congratulate and thank Mayor Carmen Bogle for her 10 years of dedication and selfless service as mayor of the village or town of Cambridge. And really for demonstrating what is capable at the local level in terms of leadership, overcoming so many obstacles, so many endeavors that she's been through, and really serving as a mentor to me in some ways. Coming into state government in 2018, Mayor Bogle was one of the first people that I met in elected office and was able to share success stories at the village level and parts of her life and challenges that she has had to overcome are amazing. And whether it was putting in a new firehouse, storm recovery from a microburst, guiding her village through COVID, all while continuing to be a mother to her children, a wife to her husband. And it's just remarkable what she's been able to do in her time, 10 years as mayor in the village of Cambridge. Joining us today in the gallery are Carmen's mother, Mary, husband, Scott, children, Austin, Angel, Garrett, and Gabby, who I've all gotten to know. And joining us on the floor with her is her grandfather, Charles Giotti, who is also a United States Marine Corps veteran of the Korean War. And it's no doubt relevant to many of the other resolutions that we've talked about today, where Mayor Bogle may have found her inspiration to serve, and where that sacrifice and commitment to making our region, our area, our village a better place, where that stems from. I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ashby. To Mayor Bogle and your family, we welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We honor your service, your years of dedication. Congratulations. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on April 8th. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, at the request of the sponsors, the resolutions we took up today are open for co-sponsorship.
The resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor, please notify the desk. Senator Gianaris.
I have a motion here on behalf of Senator Skoufis on page 50. I offer the following amendments to calendar 676, Senate Print 1694, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
The amendments are received and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Gianaris.
Let's take up the calendar now, please.
The Secretary shall read.
Calendar number 524, Senate Print 559 by Senator Krueger, enactment of the election law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris, Krueger, Orts, Cousins, White.
Oh, Senator to explain his vote.
Seth, thank you, Madam President. I think it's a laudable goal to pay our poll workers more money. It's certainly a long day, and many of them are elderly. But unfortunately, this bill comes with no funding, And as a 10-year veteran of county government, I can tell you that our boards of elections work on a shoestring budget in most cases and really do need the financial support to really absorb this very large increase. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Senator Borrello to be recorded in the negative. Announce the results. Senator Krueger to explain her vote.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, this only applies to New York City. It would not apply to the rest of the counties. So I respect my colleagues' decisions to vote no and to raise concerns about the financial costs for their boards of election. But this bill is specific to New York City Board of Election Workers. Thank you, Madam President. I support my bill.
Senator Krueger to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to Counter 524, voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Steck, and Walzek. Ayes 48, also Senator Tedisco. Also Senator White. Ayes 46, nays 14.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 563, Senate Print 600A by Senator Hinchey, an act to amend the general municipal law.
Read the last section.
Section 8, this act shall take effect on the 1st of January.
Call the roll.
Dabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 563, vote in the negative. Senator Walzek, ayes 59, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Sorry, in relation to calendar 563, vote in the negative are Senators Helming, O'Mara, Ort, and Walzek. Ayes 56, nays 4.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 582, Senate Print 6256 by Senator Skoufis, an act to amend the highway law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White.
Senator Oberacker to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. As a former town supervisor and county legislator that was in charge of our public works, I can't say thank you enough for a bill such as this that allows our highway superintendents the autonomy to be able to take care of the roads. As the 51st Senate District, which I like to refer to as the second largest Senate district, although Senator Steck and I go back and forth as to who would be the first or the largest. Senator Walzek will probably throw in there someplace, I'm sure. But as the second largest, traveling well over 47,000 miles last year in my district alone, the roads are extremely important. And this will allow our highway supers to not only take care of, but to plan accordingly. I think it's one of the, it's great to see a bill come by that I think we all can agree with, and I will proudly, Madam President, vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Oberacker to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 594, Senate Print 5089 by Senator Sepulveda, an act to amend the real property law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 626, Senate Print 6274 by Senator Scarcella Stanton, an act to amend the private housing finance law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 90th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Sewell, Cousins, White.
Senator Scarcella Stanton to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. The Affordable Home Ownership Development Program is specifically tailored to help families achieve the dream of owning a home. Its impact has been seen statewide. It has helped countless New Yorkers create better futures for themselves and their families through home ownership. By extending eligibility to veterans with service-related injuries, we are taking a huge step forward in honoring their service, making sure they have access to the stability, independence, and sense of community that they deserve. Stable, affordable housing plays such an important role in a veteran's successful transition back to civilian life. It provides a strong foundation, freedom from the stress of moving from home to home while renting, and allows our veterans to rebuild their lives more quickly and seamlessly. This bill is a tangible way to give back to those who have given up so much in the name of serving our country, strengthening our commitment to fighting for our veterans, just as they have always fought for us. Between having a VA loan from the federal government and seeing what they do at the federal level, and now looking at ways that we can help fill the gaps at the state level, I'm really proud to be sponsoring this and passing this. I want to give a special thanks to Senator Kavanaugh, who worked with me on drafting this bill, and all of my colleagues for support in passing it today. Thank you, and I proudly vote aye.
Senator Scarcella Spanton to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 652, Senate Print 6870 by Senator Comrie, an act from the Education Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sue Cousins-White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 665, Senate Print 5400 by Senator Scarcella Spanton, an act from the Navigation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sue Cousins-White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 690, Assembly number 6762 by Assemblymember Werner, an act from the Abandoned Property Law.
Read the last section.
Section 8, this act shall take effect on the 1st of July.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sue Cousins-White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 691, Assembly number 6869 by Assemblymember Alvarez, an act to amend the Executive Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sue Cousins-White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 692, Assembly number 6763 by Assemblymember Jones, an act in relation to enacting the Private Activity Bond Allocation Act of 2025.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Sue Cousins-White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Thank you, Madam President. Let me remind my majority colleagues that we will be going back into conference upon the adjournment of session. And with that, is there any further business at the desk?
There's no further business at the desk.
I move to adjourn until tomorrow, Thursday, May 1st at 11 a.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Thursday, May 1st at 11 a.m.